Long day lay me low.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another Comics and Conversations with Celsius. Brought to you by Celsius. No, unofficially. Welcome. We've been wanting this individual on for a while because he's a good person, good artist, good cat. But before we get to the guest of honor, the one that all 1.2 million of you will be watching today, we have our amazing co-host. We got Angel Curry. What's going on, Angel?
Would you say since a coon's age? Would that reference, or would it be more like
that's wildly racist? No, I'm just kidding. No, we mean raccoon. We're talking about raccoons.
Of course. What else?
Well, that's what I say. Haven't seen him in a coon's age. I also make fun of like rednecks. I'm white. I'm allowed.
I heard another person do that same thing on another stream, and I thought, are they watching Jason?
Yes.
I wondered.
Everyone watches me. Everyone just takes her. Look at what Shelby. He just rips everyone else off, including me. So everybody.
Case in point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am the GOT. That's right. The GOT of I don't know. I don't know words. We got a great guest today.
We do.
We've been wanting to get this person on. He's a very elusive individual.
Yes,
he's a wild man, a wild cat, crazy.
Very popular as well.
People can't keep their hands off him.
Oh my goodness.
The amazing, the lovely, the talented Chad Townsend. What's going on?
I'm turning red. You saying that I'm popular?
Well, most of the things every lie I say has 80% truth to it, Chad. So
right.
That's what I always say. But
no,
I mean, you've been very busy, so it's been difficult to get you on the show.
Yeah. I would love to be popular.
I don't know. I would love to have a certain extent of popularity.
We're going to try and help today. How about that?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, we are the biggest channel in YouTube. So
you are.
Well, this show anyway is the biggest show in YouTube. My other videos get like two views. These I can't even count them. The counter's broken. You know how in video games it like at 99.99999 it just stops going.
Yes.
You don't get any more points here. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It doesn't roll over.
No, it won't roll over, man. We get so many views, it just doesn't roll over, and it's wild. It's wild.
I just want to say hi, Henry Bemis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say hi to the chat real quick,
Yeah.
which is apparently just
hello, Henry Bemis.
No,
to be honest, now we're going to tell you, Henry Bemis actually is the only one that shows up for these things. So we're actually just here to show him the books, and then he mods them and then buys them. So
he promoted my campaign more than anybody last time.
Oh yeah,
my last campaign. So
cool.
Dude. Yeah, we like.
Yeah, he is.
I'm really grateful to him. So
yeah,
very nice.
Well, that's the thing. Like especially with a lot of these, YouTube's funky. You know how it goes. Like sometimes the notification doesn't go out for a while. So usually, like that's why a lot of people will play like 5-10 minute intros before they even.
That's
put the cameras on, because we start to get people coming in way later, and
basically they're fluffing the crowd first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
fluffing the crowd.
They're fluffing it. You saw my intro. I really don't fluff all that well. It's like a 4-second intro. But that's because we only really do this about an hour or so. So
yeah,
I don't want to have like a 15-minute intro, and now there's only 45 minutes left for the cast.
And why do we do it for an hour, Jason?
Rewatchability, and also people will watch a shorter stream usually.
Good. I want you rewatchable.
I want you to get the rewatchables. Is the thing. I want people to get eyes on the campaign, which, by the way, link is pinned to the top of the chat and in the description below. If you don't want to hear anything we have to say, go check out Black Phantom on Indiegogo. You did have a Kickstarter as well, but that ended.
It did.
Now, was there an exclusive cover for that?
No, there wasn't. I had some oddball thinking behind it, because it takes 2 weeks for the Kickstarter payout to happen, and with Indiegogo you get it pretty much within like several days. So I figured if I timed the Indiegogo with the end of the payout on the Kickstarter, I will have just what to go to print
right
at that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you're trying to calculate it so it all meshes together. And
So I did some odd math there to try to make it all work out.
It's a good strategy. It's a good strategy. Is there any plans for Fund My Comic? Because I mean, that's another platform.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're the same.
Didn't you go on Fund My Comic as well last time?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I don't know. I thought that. Okay.
No, I wanted to shift more to Kickstarter this time, just to try giving it a shot. But it's an odd time of the year to be doing a campaign. But
when did it launch, the Kickstarter one?
God, I'm drawing
like a month and a half ago. About
8 weeks ago.
Okay, I guess just after. I mean, it's like a month after Christmas, so
yeah.
I guess it's a little. That's why with like Ink and Me, we're trying to gear it towards, like, obviously right now everybody's probably had the refund checks, but we wanted to do it after tax season, so people have a little more disposable income.
Right.
Tax season is the season to start a campaign because of the refunds.
Well, also the reason I kind of did that, a couple reasons. Well, my wife, she's pressuring me to just go for it, and then the other one was the timing. I want to do the next issue campaign in July, so hopefully I can get that wrapped up and have it in people's hands before Christmas. The second book. So
before we get into all that, why do I have my glasses? I don't even freaking need these. I always ask people when they come on and stuff like that, because this is a weird thing to get into. What got you into comics, and do you remember your first comic book?
Oh, absolutely. I can even.
Hey, Hockey.
What's up, Hockey?
Hockey's on Facebook, so it's you.
Don't make Chad big, by the way, Angela.
I will not. I've seen. Yes.
Some reason I lock up when you make me big, but as a kid, I really loved comics going way back. Like, I loved Richie Rich comics and superhero comics. I guess, like, I could start telling you stories that I really liked back then, but I remember the first comic I bought off a spinner rack with my own pocket change was this one right here, this exact issue.
That exact book?
This exact one.
Oh, wow.
Of House of Mystery really appealed to me. You got the UFO on it and this swamp monster.
Yeah, that is pretty
cool. When I was 18, Bernie Wrightson signed it for me.
What?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. Very cool.
So, do you need my address then?
No, this is mine. But yes, it's got a lot of love in it. There's a lot of creases, and
honestly, though, it doesn't look that bad for being your first book.
Yeah,
dude, my first book, I had to rebuy it because the cover got torn off, just through wear and tear.
I mean, I really love Batman a whole lot, and Superman and Spider-Man and whatnot. But I remember I saw this, and that's what I wanted off the spinner rack because it was really scary looking.
Well, yeah, as a kid, you see this creepy looking book.
Why I chose House of Mystery, I have no idea. It was obviously it had to do with the cover, but I remember I could tell you where and when and all the details. But when I was in second grade, I was 7 or 8 years old around then, and my teacher called my parents in. I had an issue with reading, and then she's like, "Hey, Will,"
dyslexia,
just wanting to read in general.
I
didn't want to read books.
You weren't very excited about reading.
No, and the teacher, Mrs. Cave, she's like, "Hey, what does Chad like to read? We need to get him reading. He's like really, he's starting to bomb." No, I don't know if she said that. She was really nice, but and my mom, you know how a parent is. They're kind of like, well, he likes to read comic books, kind of cringy face.
Yeah,
and the teacher was like, "Great, buy him as many as he'll read."
Mm-hmm.
And as it turned out, like in 1980, there was a comic shop in my town where I grew up, And my parents went off one day, and they came home and brought me a stack
Oh
of
wow.
books like this big, and then it was like X-Men and some Spider-Man and all these really cool titles, and blew through those, and I got so addicted to reading comics that I was fishing in the change jar every week and
Mhm.
mowing lawns. I was hitting up neighbors to mow their lawn for like $20, you know.
Oh yeah,
So I would a $20 bill for me at
dude.
that age. I was walking
Yeah,
I was walking out of the comic shop every week with a stack like this.
dude.
With
Now
a,
it's this.
yeah. And what was really exciting about that shop to me is they had the quarter bins, as well. So I was going through and picking through, and I'll even show you like some quarter bin stuff I have from when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
They're really ratty, but like
Well,
look at
dude,
this.
I see a lot of people they're selling like the comics online and they're like, oh, this is a 9.2, like it's not a slab, but like, oh, this is in great condition. I'm like, comics, it's okay if they're like a 7. They're
I
meant to be
mean,
read. Like
I got like stacks of this stuff
that
from
stuff
when
should be read. Look at that. That's
yeah, like
cool.
lots of Power Man and Iron Fist. I
Hmm.
really thought Power Man and Iron Fist was so cool as a kid. So
Jeez.
I
Look at
just
that.
have
Nice.
tons of quarter bin box stuff from when I was a kid. I,
I like that
you
it's right
know,
next to you too.
yeah, I keep that stuff as inspiration, even though it's not like the greatest stuff in the world. It still inspires me, like to have those old books.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. And even like I said, tell a lot of people, like it is still even inspires you to get moving and to draw,
yeah,
even though it may not influence your style. It's still something that influences you as a creator and as an artist. And you're just like,
right.
oh, look what they were doing back then. It was like almost in like some of it is kind of boring, but it all depends on what you pick up. But it's still like they were using like the old school techniques, like brush and pen and ink, and like you have people like a penciler on 4 different titles because the pencils were so loose. The inker was actually the shiner of the whole book. If people
Yeah,
didn't
they were
realize
finisher.
they're finishers, yeah, but they were still labeled as inker half the time.
Yeah,
So yeah, but and that stuff's really dope. That's cool. So you've been collecting a lot for a very long
yeah.
time, then.
I'm 52, and I've been reading comics my entire life. But yeah, I started going to a comic shop in 1980.
Yeah, you're fortunate to have one near you. We actually had one near us because I got my first one at a grocery store for free, and then we almost the same way. I had, like the bug bit us, and we found out my dad used to work with somebody who then now would owns a comic shop,
Hmm.
and so that's when we started just going. And yeah, but like you were saying though, like it was a little bit later, but than what you were going, but still, like you like we would make sure our chores were done, so we would have that $5 at the end of the week and go to the comic shop, buy like 7 comics,
Right.
and then burn through them in like 2 hours. Like we would just
Yeah.
devour them, and
I
yeah.
I saved them for Saturday morning. Like I did not like I would wait and watch cartoons and lay on the couch and read the comics at the same time. And because of the cartoons, like if I got like let's say a Transformer book or a GI Joe comic or whatever, I heard the voice actors in my head while I was reading these things. Even like Secret Wars, I could hear Spider-Man and his amazing friends, those actors like
It
so.
sticks in your head. It's like Batman
Yep.
animated. Like you hear Kevin Conroy
Yeah.
and Mark Hamill when you're reading Batman. Like you just
Yep.
do. It fit it so well that it just embedded into your head. Like there are some classic characters out there that played maybe them better later on, if
Hmm.
not, but their voices were perfect. And it's just like with Spider-Man and all that stuff. Spider-Man was Amazing Friends. You had all that cool stuff. So you were watching the cartoons while you were like, still devouring the comics. Did that also then get you into the whole, because you got into animation. So did that get you into that field? Like, did that drive you to be like, I really love these cartoons. I kind of want to do that.
I kind of went another route. I didn't start out like when I was. I'm not really sure at what age I was. I might have been like 10, 12, that it finally occurred to me that there's actual people that sit and draw these things, because I somehow assumed it was just a machine that printed them and they came out that way.
No,
I know it
yeah.
sounds dumb.
Well, it's just like how people always thought they were drawn at that size, and then when you get older, you're
Right.
like, oh, these are drawn on giant pieces of paper. Yeah.
I didn't really pay attention to the names of who was drawing them until a certain point. It finally hit me, and when I couldn't really tell you when, but I know for a fact when it was Todd McFarlane showed up in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. I was buying Spider-Man anyway, but when he showed up, that, like, when I saw his stuff, it made me go, hey, I think I could draw like this, or I want to draw like this. There was something about the way he drew that was almost like on my level. It wasn't perfect. I can't explain it.
It was more like, because back before him, it was a lot. And don't get me wrong, it is crazy hard to do. It was like anatomy and like perfect form, and it was more in the thing. Like you want to, but it was stiffer. Whenever he came along, it's like this is not very anatomically correct, but look at the bending in it. Look at the malleability of Spider-Man. Like he moves like a spider. Like it's crazy cool. And it kind of lend into that whole, well, you can actually make it's cartoonish. Like it really is. And you can then be like, oh, we can actually inject both the cartoon and the realism and mesh them together. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it was when McFarlane came out, that's when I realized, oh man, I want to draw comic books. I really want to draw comics. And I didn't graduate high school. This is kind of a long story a little bit.
We got time, you're fine.
I didn't graduate high school because I went to a private school that went bankrupt after my 11th grade year, and the program wasn't in any other private school around Austin. I grew up in Round Rock and Austin area, and I tried doing the homeschooling thing and I just couldn't do it, so I just went ahead and got my GED, and then ended up working for a comic shop that was local to me.
Nice.
For 5 years, and the owner was like super cool. He bought and sold original comic art, and he would go around and travel to conventions and take me with him. So I went.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so I would go to like New York, Big Apple Con, and Philadelphia, and San Diego Comic Con, and I would end up going to like the dinner with him and these really famous like guys, and I got to know guys like Gil Kane when I was a teenager, just from going to conventions. So I would start showing off my portfolio that I started putting together, started drawing and showing it to these guys and getting pointers. And next thing I know, they're like going, hey, you're starting to get really good. I need an assistant. So I started assisting and apprenticing with a lot of these guys, and I was crashing out on couches, and they would feed me and pay me a little money, and all over. And anytime I was finished with a job, I would go home, and the owner of the bookstore always had a job for me, so he was super supportive of that. And it wasn't until I started trying to get my own jobs inking over different people, I wasn't getting in. It was really frustrating for me at the time, because I think the level that I had to compete at to get jobs was with all these other established people. And I finally, Jim Ballant, who was the artist on Catwoman at the time, wanted me to
good stuff
to be his inker because he really liked my line work. The editor, who I think at the time was Julie Schwartz, but I can't remember, didn't want to give me a shot because I didn't have that kind of name under my belt yet. Like, I was too big. I wasn't big enough to be on Catwoman, basically.
Right.
And I got really frustrated. And my dad at the time, he kept giving me or showing me this ad in the local newspaper in Austin for a game studio called Iguana Entertainment. Where did I set it? I think.
Oh, you still have the ad?
Yeah,
Oh,
I still
cool.
have the ad.
Dude, you saved everything.
I saved it. I don't know where I put it. I got it around here somewhere.
Oh,
Anyway,
I'm sure it's there somewhere. Yeah.
My dad, after failing, I was trying to get on Sovereign 7, another book as an inker, and then Catwoman, and I was just so burnt and frustrated of just like failing and failing and failing. My dad hands me that clipping again, doesn't say anything, and I sit and I look at it and I go, I love playing video games, but I never thought I wanted to make video games.
Right.
Because I wanted to be Todd McFarlane.
We all did.
And so I'm looking at it and it says artists wanted, and their titles were like NBA Jam and NFL Quarterback Club. And I went, well,
oh, wow.
NBA Jam is a pretty big deal.
It's a really big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, all right, I'll do it. I turned in a portfolio of like my stuff. I did a little art test that they gave me, and they hired me the week of my 23rd birthday.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, happy birthday.
That was in February 7th was my birthday that week of 1996.
Oh, wow.
And from there, I worked in video games for a while. I got laid off from there. I went and worked for a Japanese anime studio in Houston, Texas. That's how I ended up in Houston. And I had saved up all my royalty money, by the way, for like 4 or 5 years. I didn't like blow my royalty checks.
Wow.
Which you used to get royalty checks in video games, which they don't do that anymore.
Huh.
And so I had enough money. I was able to live off of it for a year and a half and do nothing, which looking back on, I wish I didn't, I wish but at the time it was like, oh, well, I don't have to do anything. But so I met my wife during that time and in Austin.
Oh, something good came out of it.
Yeah, that was a great time. Started dating her and met her through a friend of mine that worked at Nintendo, which is another great story. But anyway, so I ended up in Houston at this Japanese anime studio, and turns out her family's all from Houston, so that's why I just ended up staying here.
Yeah.
And did 3 years in Japanese anime, spent off and on in Korea. I didn't really get to work on anything big. I mean, it was, I did get paid at the time. It was kind of a wasted 3 years, in my opinion. So I got laid off from there. My youngest daughter's about to be born, and we had no insurance. And like 2 weeks later, I get this note or a call from this guy. His name is Frank Parr, and he's like, yeah, my name's Frank Parr. I'm a producer at Marvel Lionsgate Films. Somebody wrote your website on a Post-it note and stuck it to my monitor 3 days ago, and I've been just eyeing your artwork for 3 days.
Cool.
How would you like to design armor for an animated Iron Man movie? And wow, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty dope thing, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea who stuck that Post-it note on his monitor.
To this day.
To this day.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Wild.
It would be nice to know. You give him a big thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a total blessing because during that time, the 9 months I worked on that movie, that paid for my daughter's NICU bills to, because she was in the NICU for 10 days, and that money, like, covered me. Like, it was really good money.
Right.
And then at the very end of it, they did another cool thing is I flew out to LA to watch the animated Iron Man movie. And this is like right before the live action one.
Mm-hmm. I think I remember it. Yeah.
They just announced Jon Favreau was getting ready to start working on this movie. Well, I get to the Fox studio lot, and I sit down in a private theater called the Chaplin Theater to watch it, and in walks Jon Favreau and his kids, and sits down
Oh,
and watches my Iron Man movie with me, and I get to talk Iron Man with
that's
Jon Favreau,
Who is a big nerd. Like he's
whoa.
a big
right,
dork. Yeah.
and a bunch of other people, that are in there too, and he was researching, what he was gonna do. So it was totally amazing moment to kick off my career. And from there, I ended up getting an agent in LA, which I don't have anymore. And I don't feel like people get in their minds, they think they need agents to get work and stuff, and you really don't.
It helps a
Yeah.
little, but if
It
you do the
Networking is
legwork,
huge,
yeah.
even if
it
you don't have
helps,
one.
it helps if you don't know your way around the industry. It also helps if you are trying to sell a movie. Like if somebody's interested in buying your pitch, they're there to help.
They're an
With that.
intermediary, pretty much. Yeah.
Right. But I was getting like anyway, it's a long story. They were getting like 10-15% out of every one of my paychecks.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got an agent from that and got my next gig, which was working on the Legion of Superheroes with Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And that's where like my career just really started to kind of take off, but I still had to go and do a lot of networking on my own.
So in regards to your love for comics, when in that time did you realize like I could draw? Because John Apple, I'm so sorry.
Oh, John's here. What's up, John?
Yeah, he was mentioning that he didn't really start, like he fell in love with comics, but he didn't actually start learning how to draw until junior high age.
I couldn't draw at all, even when I got out of high school. Like I still couldn't draw.
What?
I'm amazed when I got my first gig at the video game studio that I even got that job. I mean, some of that stuff I drew was not bad, and it probably showed potential to the art director, but I don't feel like I don't know. I've drawn so much, but I'm at a point now. It wasn't even until like the last 10 years that I feel like I'm confident in myself.
I was gonna say, do you think maybe you could always draw, but the level wasn't there, and you're at a point now? I feel the same way.
I'm
About your
finally.
work, not mine. Just kidding.
I'm sure of myself now. I think that I can draw great? No, I feel like I got a lot to learn, but at the same time, I'm more confident and not afraid to like break those barriers that I've not broken before. Like draw the things that I don't know how to draw. I mean,
well, I think also if you ever get to the point where you feel like you don't need to learn anything else, then you failed, because it's in art in general. There's always something you need to learn, and a direction you need to go, or something I have never done that I can always do. Like you always keep growing as an illustrator / artist. I always say artist because you have to know art to get even into comics. Like you have to know actual art, and it is an art form. That's why it's called comic art. It grinds my gears when people say art isn't comic books aren't art. I'm like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
To me, it's a game a lot of times too, because I try to game art. I don't know how to explain it. Like I try to challenge myself and see if I could beat it in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I see what you're saying. Like if you're struggling for a long time to draw a nose, and all of a sudden you could draw the nose, like you beat the system, you beat the game. Like now I got to draw the eye. Like So you're trying to constantly beat the game, which is an unbeatable game. And you're always trying to outmaneuver it.
Yeah. I'm at a point now where I try to find inspiration and find the inspiration I had when I was younger. So I try to look at a lot of the old stuff from when I was a kid to stay inspired and try to grab that feeling that I had when I was a kid. Another way I game art, by the way, is working in animation. My deadlines, I would I would use a timer to do all my art tasks and try to beat the clock, and that's called. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Uh, there's a. It's a method. It's a technique.
I think
Anyway,
hockey's used it before. Actually, I'm not sure.
yeah,
But
I started using it years and years ago because I was helping an artist. We inked 2 comics in 3 days.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, he had such a tight deadline. I drove all the way to Dallas and we cranked out these 2 books. And he showed me the timer method. And he's like, all right, I want you to ink all the backgrounds on this page in 30 minutes. And I'd be like, what? Like 30 minutes? And he's like, yep, time starts now. And it's like, do.
So,
And
go ahead, Chad.
no.
No, I was going to ask. So the this timer method, like you have 30 minutes to ink the backgrounds. Like this is just an analogy, obviously.
Yeah.
So then, was it more like you have 30 minutes to do it in the highest quality, or like 30 minutes to get it cranked out? If it looks sloppy-ish, that's fine.
Well,
we're not concerned about it.
No, it had to be high quality, but he also, this artist, his name was Arthur Nichols, one of the guys I assisted. He was Neil Adams' assistant for a long time. But before I even did any assistant work for him, he did a Mr. Miyagi on me. And he sat me down with whole sheets of Bristol board and a crow quill. And he's like, all right, I want you to make straight lines. And they all have to be just like this, perfect. And I want you to fill up this entire sheet of paper. And I go bring them to him, and he's like, nope, you got to do it like this. And then he's like, then I want you to do curves and this and this and this. I had to do a lot of that for like several weeks before he finally gave me pages to ink the backgrounds on. So by the time I got done with all those, I was confident enough to use those tools.
Right. So
when he did turn the timer on me, I knew how to do it, and it would be quality.
With the motion, the memory, the muscle memory was there.
Yes.
So you could just easily crank them out. And the funny thing about that is, like I always say, you don't have to go to art college, obviously, at all. I tell people don't, but I did back in the day, and I always say it was a waste of money, but I had great teachers. My teachers even did that. Like there were a few weeks where it was just that draw a straight line. Draw a straight line. And we were like everybody in the class is like, this is stupid. But I can contribute my speed factor now to stuff like that. Like I'm comfortable enough with just going real quick with cross hatching that I don't have to sit there and I've seen people go insanely slow. It's like, oh, dude, I want to strangle the screen because I'm like, just put the line down. I'm like, yeah. So
don't hesitate. You could tell somebody's experience by if there's one line. And if it takes them all these little jiggity to make one line, you could tell they're not confident enough just to draw the freaking line. You could tell where they are skill-wise by that. I just remember the name of it. It's called the Pomodoro technique. If you look it up.
Look it up, everybody. Yeah, no, that's cool. And that is actually it's kind of like a life drawing thing as well. Like they set the 30-second timer and you draw, just a quick motion of the figure. But with stuff like that also, it gets you loose. And it's like a lot of people do warm-up illustrations, which I just don't. I don't know why. And there's nothing against it. I mean, they're awesome. But I tend to feel if I do them, I lose the motion, the energy in the piece that I'm going to work on. So I just never really do them because I like that quick. And I learned that with life drawing classes. Like it's a real quick thing, and it looks like the form, but still moving.
You just reminded me of something. I used to go when I knew Bill Willingham when I was a teenager.
Nice.
And he would have life drawing at his studio every week.
Nice. Well, that's really cool.
Yep.
Well, I also tell people if they want to even that I've just met or have known a while, and they're like, oh, I kind of want to look at this or do that. And I'm like, well, have you tried going to a life drawing class? Or even if you just take a still photo on your computer, you could do this too. Like you said, and just set a timer for 30 seconds, have it on your screen, just real quickly, gesture it. Like it is, there's something to say about seeing the form in real life as opposed to being a flat surface, but the principle is still there. So
draw what you see. And I still draw what I see. Like on the next issue of my book, I went out and bought a model kit for this tank,
Oh, look at that.
and
Oh,
that was my, it was a snap together Sherman tank, but that was my
That's cool.
reference
okay.
that I used throughout the next issue.
So you cheated. How dare you? No, use reference, everybody.
No, I would
When
look
needed,
at
when
it
needed.
and sketch it out.
I took a photo of it, scanned it in, and traced
Say
Yeah.
Odin. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that use reference is important, especially with certain aspects of it. But I try to say do as much as you can out of memory, but look up what you need to. There's nothing wrong with it. Now that's
Right.
totally different from like typing something into AI and just importing it over, and like that's cheating in my opinion. But you can still type something into AI and look at, oh, that's a kind of a cool pose. I'm going to use that as an inspiration. You get rid of it and then you draw it.
I
A little
think
different.
I think well, first of all, whenever I've worked on any TV shows or video games, photo reference was always like the most important thing we did before we drew anything, any objects or whatever. I mean, I would still have to draw in the style of whatever I was working on, but I still needed that reference. But I think now AI is way better reference library than it is
Yeah.
than people give it, because I can't just look on Google image search. I want a pirate inside of a pirate ship of a treasure room that's half sunken underwater with cobwebs, yada yada yada, and get it. Whereas AI will give me just about that, and I could look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's kind of like what it would look and feel like."
Right,
You know,
and it would have the light sources and everything
Yeah.
kind of in there. And and then here's the thing: like I've gone back and forth. The AI discussion it'll never end. It'll never end. But
Right.
I think, like you just said, using it as a tool in that regard, as a reference tool,
Yep.
I don't see a problem with that. I don't, because it's no different than going on Google and typing in, boat and getting a bunch of boats and just looking at one of those. So
Right.
it's almost the same thing, only you're typing in the specifics of what you were looking for and it amalgamates them. I don't see it too much of an issue with that at all.
I
Like,
think it's cool. You just even got a model tank now that you can have on the side of your desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that obviously he had to build and put together.
But you build as well. I mean, it's not like you just
I know
got
it's a snap together, but still.
But you know what's great about building this tank is I was able to pay attention to what the details of the tank were as I was putting it together, So I was committing it to memory, basically.
And feeling the structure of it. And
yeah.
It's weird. Like, you're like, oh, well, you're drawing it. You don't feel it. But you get, like, you could ask an actual full blind person, like fully blind person, when they touch somebody's face, they get a mental image of what they look like. Like, so you retain that in your system.
Bancroft says that he's been using Grok for clothing reference, and that
you hack
1,000 times better overnight.
You cheating hack! No, everybody go subscribe to Bancroft.
John says he references only as good as what you do with it, so that's a good way of looking at it.
Well, and you did mention like when you would do video games and animation, you still have to look at life. Like Disney would send people to the zoo and draw the lions and the elephants. Like, they would actually, like, you gesture draw them, and they, like you said, they'd implement them in their style, but they would still have to learn from the thing. So yeah, reference is important, and there's some reference you can't utilize. Like, it's kind of hard to find we draw Frog G for I draw Frog. It's kind of hard to find a reference for a Frog G whenever you're like, there's no human frogs out there. Like, there's frogs, but so you got to use that your imagination at that point. Yeah. So, and it's just something that's a lot of people, I don't know, they kind of think, oh, you have to use a reference, so you're cheating. It's like, no, all artists do it. Like, the Renaissance painters, like, I mean, they would do that. Look at Frazetta, he would pose himself.
Neil Adams taught everybody that came, like, so Neil had Continuity Studios, which he would lease out or rent out spaces within the studio for artists that were living there to come have a place to work. And he taught that to everybody, like Bernie Wrights and all these dudes. He was teaching them to use photo reference. Even like if they were in such a tight deadline, they could take the photo of the pose, blow it up on a Xerox machine, and just do a rough over it, just to get the action, not trace it, but you know what I mean? To like,
Yeah.
just to help them with their deadlines. And
no, yeah, and you're right. It's like, even if you take the photo of the thing and you quick gesture it, like, you keep the energy.
that's why you like, if you look at Clip Studio, I don't use Clip Studio or the 3D part. They have the 3D model that you could pose up, but somehow that feels too stiff to me when I try to draw over that. So I don't utilize it. I tend to like drawing my figures as stick figures, and then
The wireframe.
yeah, I tend to like drawing that way better.
And the wireframe thing, that's why, like, I tell a lot of people, if their stuff looks a little too stiff to me, or like, and as a positive critique, I do try to tell them, like, that's why I'm adamant about the life drawing, like, quick sketch, because you utilize that wireframe a lot, and it goes into the gesture, and it loosens you up, and it just, you're like, I see a lot of really dope artwork that's insanely good, anatomically correct to the T, highly detailed, but it's wooden. It's like, oh man, this feels heavy. Like, you gotta loosen up. Like, get loosey goosey.
Right.
Yeah.
Odin says reference material is crucial to anything, and he appreciates how Chad mentioned how the tank model informed his visuals for the tank, and I believe his campaign is 110 away from funding.
Oh, so we're here to talk about Odin's book. All right, everybody.
Yeah,
let's bring up Odin's book.
Right.
No, Chad, we're getting rid of you.
Elysian Fields Reborn. That's right. I knew it's
no, Odin's going to be on next week, everybody.
First off, I think Odin's awesome. And
Odin is awesome.
I want everybody to get time in the spotlight for their campaigns.
No, he's going to be on next week. He's going to be on.
Yeah, it'll be great. So
yeah, go back.
And then Rocky, he streams on YouTube. He did some animal sketches at the zoo the other day. So
Rocky's insanely good.
That's a good channel as well.
Everyone go check out Rocky.
You could drop that in the
great artist, great dude.
In the chat.
Yeah. Oh, we got a great chat today.
We do. It's really hopping and bopping.
But yeah, I tell everybody, like, utilize, like, not everybody needs that loose style. There's plenty of people who draw, like you mentioned, Neil Adams. Like, his stuff isn't rubbery. It's insanely dope. So like, you can still have that. How I've often thought of this, and like had this debate in private, usually with people. How important do you feel it is to have proper anatomy in a structured piece? And do you think it's fine to have decent anatomy and make it look cool, or make sure you have proper anatomy and it just looks
this is where you're getting into a subject that I often talk about, is real isn't always better, in my opinion. So as long as it looks right and it looks fun, I don't care like how wacky somebody's anatomy is, I mean, the way, this is kind of what I was talking about yesterday, the way your imperfections are the way you draw, and that's your signature, and that's what makes you unique. If I try to draw absolutely perfect, or anybody tried to draw perfect, you don't stand out as much. It just looks like everybody else. If you look at the video games Battlefield and Call of Duty, if you didn't see the logo, you wouldn't know they were they were a different game. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, knowing enough anatomy is important, but it's not the most important thing. As long as it looks fun,
I agree with that. I mean, it does also play into factor as to what style you're going for. If you're going for a realistic style and your anatomy is so jacked up, you don't know where, like, a bicep is. Yeah, it's gonna look. You're not gonna pull it off right. But if you're somebody like like Todd, we're using as a good example, he can have off anatomy, but it's the rule of cool. It looks so dope that you just don't care. Like,
I do believe though, figure drawing is really important, and I don't mean figure drawing in exactly where your anatomy goes. I mean figure drawing and life drawing in the sense that you can make an object move and have movement in a still object. Like my dog is kind of woofing right now. If you
Oh, we
can
can't
hear,
hear him.
she's just low woofing. Anyway, but learning to draw, if you can make a stick figure move and bend and have dynamics, then it whatever anatomy you put on the top of it is gonna look lifelike, no matter how cartoony or real it is. I highly suggest like getting good at drawing, like figure drawing. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes, figure draw.
yeah,
I always say this: learn your fundamentals. Obviously, like wireframes, shapes. That's why I love Sam Keith. He mainly drew shapes, and then
right,
he would make the figure in the shape. So,
right,
like, it's art. People have fun, play with it.
yep,
Like if like it obviously, like I said earlier, it does depend on what style you're going for. If you're going for like a tighter, like a more Alex Rossi precise, like lifelike thing, obviously looking at Sam is not going to do you too much good, but it still will because they use shapes. Everybody uses shapes. So
get good, scrub, Jan 2025.
nice. Speaking of, you don't have a trailer, so we're just going to do this.
I don't have a trailer.
That's fine. You don't need one.
Do you think it would have made a difference?
No.
Okay, I don't think so either.
No, I just like the trailer because I'm like, hey, speaking of cool things, and then I hit the button. It's just a dumb segue. It's a fun segue. But honestly, like even with Frog 2, Inkspots and I have been debating on not using a trailer. They're cool for the first couple streams that people watch, but you get a lot of rewatchers. You get a lot of people who like because not every promo stream is the same. Like Bancroft does his totally different than we do ours. So, sometimes you want to, like, maybe you'll also drop a few more nuggets on another promo stream you didn't hear. So people like to watch them because of that reason, but not everybody wants to sit through like a 20, 30 minute long trailer again and be like, okay, I get it. Even if it's a dope trailer. Like we had Frog 1 had an animated trailer by Pedro Ang, great artist. Go subscribe to Pedro. But it was awesome. I don't regret it. But it didn't make too much of a difference as far as funding goes.
Right.
So I think you're fine. I just use it as a segue in all reality. But yeah. So tell us about Black Phantom. Holy terror. Holy moly.
Okay, so this particular story is about Black Phantom trying to retrieve the Spear of Destiny and get it back from this general who obtains it and wants to conquer the world with it. It's kind of gonna have a little bit of my homage to the G.I. Joe yearbook that Michael Golden drew. I really love that issue, so I'm gonna have lots of tanks and vehicles and whatnot in it. And yeah, I know it doesn't sound exciting, but there's a lot of history in it. The spear, if anybody doesn't know, is the spear that pierced the side of Christ in his ribs, and there's real history behind it. This spear has actually been in the hands of many generals and leaders, and Caesars and whatnot for couple thousand years. And every time they have the spear, they're able to conquer their enemies with it. One of the curses of it, or the lore behind it, is every time they've lost possession of it, they ended up dying that day, the day they lost possession. The last leader to have had it was Adolf Hitler during World War II.
Oh.
I got a picture of myself with it and a copy of Black Phantom.
I'm not going to make you big, but I'm just hold on. Let me do this. That way we
about
can
a
make
year
a little
ago.
Bigger.
Yeah, so I went to Vienna and got a picture with it. I don't have the picture here.
Oh, I thought you were showing the picture. All right. Well,
no
worries.
It's all right.
Sorry. It will be in my book.
Well, also, if you've watched the newest Indiana Jones, they go over the Spear of Destiny.
What's funny is, so the spear that you see here, they claim it's a fake in Indiana Jones, like in that first part.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But there are like 4 different spears that claim to be the actual spear, but according to the experts, they think this is like the most legit one.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, carbon dating goes so far, so I'm sure I don't know if they could carbon date like the materials on it and find out, but yeah, so he goes to search for the Spear of Destiny in
yeah,
this book to
in the
take it
very
back from.
beginning, he goes on a mission. The very first of the book, he goes on a mission and obtains it, and uh, once he gets it, then I'm kind of giving it away, but I don't care. People don't care about
Don't care.
people don't care
forget.
about spoilers. This general, basically General Patton, gets the spear and decides he wants to conquer Russia. And if you know anything about real World War II history, he tried to get Eisenhower to give him the okay and go defeat Russia
Mhm.
since they were already beaten down. He figured, well, they're going to be our worst enemy in the future. If we don't do anything about it, we got to go do it. So that's what kicks off the beginning of this story.
Which is cool. You're using
Yep.
real world history events and tying
Yeah.
them into your story here, your
Yeah.
character. And for those okay, something that I want to also question is like, how does this differ then? Because you had Rocket's Red Glare
Mhm.
before this one, so this isn't a sequel to that. This is another story altogether.
It's just it's its own story. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I guess it's a sequel. I wouldn't call it. I just want to say it's its own self-contained story.
Does this take place after Rocket's Red Glare?
Yeah, it takes
Okay.
place at the end of the war. So, yeah, I forgot where I was gonna go with that.
That's fine. We'll talk about something else.
No,
I think you were
that's
about
fine.
to spoil. I think what happened, you were about to spoil, and we kind of were
Yep.
like going on why you shouldn't
Yeah,
spoil.
you shouldn't spoil it.
No,
People
I
should
don't
back
mind.
it and read it. People should back it.
I want to know, Jason. I want to know.
No, well then back it and read it. Don't put Chad on the spot. You're embarrassing him.
No, but I'm super excited for the next issue afterward too, because when you see what happens at the end of this one, you're gonna want to know what happens in the next one. So it's got a good cliffhanger.
How much of this is completed already?
This issue is 100% completed.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just by you backing is going to help cover my printing and shipping of the books and shipping to the customers. So I don't expect to make a dime off of this particular issue.
Well, it's like Ink and I have said, like, if you make money off of it, fantastic. It's not like you're going to complain about it. Like that's great. But like the main purpose of these crowdfunders in general is to get the books printed and like shipped to you, obviously, but you do overprinting. And that way you can have them in the inventory at cons, also in the next campaign and stuff like that. That's mainly what these are for. But also, hey, if we get paid for doing it because you spent a lot of time working on these books, it's nice to get compensated. So
you're helping me produce it so I could sell it, continue to sell it afterward.
Yeah. There you go.
So in this regard, did you use the Pomodori method in drawing this book? Is that why you got it done so quickly?
No chance.
Yes, I kind of do use it when I'm in a rush, when I want to like get through it. Yes.
I think also your background in animation and game design and all that stuff helps with your speed factor. You gotta be quick.
Super fast in animation. Drawing comics is a little bit different because you're doing a lot of storytelling and acting. You're not just drawing an object. Now you're the actor, in your story. So yeah, it's a lot harder.
Odin backed. He's backer 28.
Hey,
thank you.
Appreciate it, Odin. Appreciate you. Yeah, please back everybody. If you do back, no, great. Put it in the chat. I never refresh these things, so I don't even know. But this is how many pages?
It's 24. It's gonna have other content in it. If in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna see if I can do an 8-page story and knock it out and put it in there. I'm gonna try.
So there might be some bonus content.
There might be. I can't guarantee anything just yet, but that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to push myself to do it. It will have a holochrome cover, just like the previous
just take this
book.
Down real quick. Where am I? I'm right here. Okay, show it off. So look at that.
It'll be.
I have
it.
Yeah.
It will have this type of cover. And the glow in the dark cover, which you saw, I had the soul,
cool.
will be much like this
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The
Awesome.
glow
There
in
you
the
go.
dark Ghost Rider cover. It'll be an all
Yeah.
glow in the dark cover like
There you go. You're
this.
gonna get the Ghost
So-
Rider glow in the dark cover, everybody. If you back, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to do it because I loved this stuff as a kid. You know.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic stuff. And also, that glow in the dark is not that printing can't be super
Oh my gosh.
cheap. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cool thing to do, and it's a nice little fun thing for backers and collectors. Of like, I'm pretty sure I backed. I'll double check. I know I backed this a couple times. I think so. If
Dude,
not, I'll back it again.
You all don't without
Well-
looking first because you tend to like back more
No,
than once.
I'll look again. I'll look. Well, the thing is, it's mainly a financial thing. Like
Yeah, I
sometimes I'm
know.
like, oh, I have like $30, I can back your campaign, but I really want that sketch cover, and so I just
Right.
back again later. It's the way I see it. It's I'm going to spend maybe $40 at the comic shop. Well, guess what? I put it to your campaign, and I just don't buy a new book. That I'll wait to pick those up later.
That's smart.
So it's
Yeah.
just it's managing your extra expenses is a key factor.
What's great about it is, you know, by backing that campaign, you've made it possible for me to have books because I'm going to be going to like Heroes Con this summer.
Oh,
and,
very cool.
and a couple different conventions. So I will be able to have that stuff ready to sell even there.
That's great.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see you at Heroes Con because I did apply. So I'm waiting to hear back from her.
Woohoo! Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so hopefully I can go and I get to meet you in person. That'd be fantastic. Amongst like Luke and Frega and Andy Smith, that'd be dope to
Yep.
meet all these people in person. You know. So,
No, I'm excited because there are people I haven't talked to in a long, long time. I want to go visit Mike Grell, who I haven't seen and
nice,
talked to, and Mark Schultz. I really love both of those guys, so can't wait.
Well, we love you, Chad, and we want to go over your tiers.
Thank
Let's
you.
go over
I
those.
love you guys.
Let's go over your tiers real quick. No featured tier, which I don't like that. Have a featured tier, Chad.
They do a thing on Indiegogo. Whatever the lowest price or the first tier is at the very top shows up on the page when you're scrolling through and looking at campaigns.
Right, but you
So
can
if
usually set a featured tier.
Right. If you set a featured tier that says like $75, it's gonna appear as underneath your
It still goes underneath the $60
when you're on the main page. When people are finding you, you know, or they're scrolling through the different campaigns, it shows that. I wanted mine to say $10, like
That makes
so
sense.
people will want to click on it.
That makes sense. And now I didn't know that. So now that I know that, I can
Yeah.
let people know as well. Because I do like a featured tier just because it's like, hey, that's the one I
Right.
should back. But if Indiegogo is kind of pushing that one, it looks like, wow, it's $200. I don't
Yeah.
have $200.
Why am I gonna click on a $75 book?
Yeah, and that makes sense then at that point.
Yeah.
So you do have-
Discovery. It's called Discovery, right?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's called Discovery.
What were you gonna say?
Tiers.
Tiers. Oh yeah. So you just get the basic book for $10, or the glow in the dark cover for $20.
Yeah.
Or you do a bundle for $30. You get both
Nice.
of them.
Saves you shipping.
Just the sketch card is $40, but if you want, you could bundle and get cover A and B and a sketch card.
Oh, look
for
at
the
you.
70.
What? Wait a minute. That's a really good deal.
Yep. And then a sketch cover.
Ooh.
You just want to get a sketch cover, it's 100. But if you want to get the
That
whole
you-
what?
Oh, go ahead. A whole enchilada.
If you want the whole enchilada, you can get it all for 170. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, you can get blanks, correct?
You can as an
undrawn,
add-on.
As an add-on. I just want
Yeah.
people to know that because there are artists out there that are like, well, I do like Chad's artwork, but I want to
Right.
draw on it too. And so that which
The blanks are $10, but I
Oh.
don't sell them on the main page because I'd rather do that as an add-on.
well, also I do like, and I said this before in another, I think people we had on last week, Cosmic Crusaders, they had not that many tiers. I like that. I'd
Yep.
rather have you have like these are the main things,
Yep.
and the back end you can mix and match if you want
Yes.
to. But these are what I recommend. And yeah,
I feel that way too. I don't want to offer so many different items because, you know, my wife and I and our kids, we have a hard time deciding what we want for supper. A lot of
Yeah,
times.
dude.
Why do I want to do that to people when they get on a campaign and go, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know. Do I want cover A, C, F, G, whatever,
Right.
Like,
And
I just
also,
want
no, you're right. I don't mean to
meat and
interrupt you.
potatoes, man.
Yeah,
Just
meat and potatoes. And the other thing is, there are plenty of people who go on these being like, okay, I just want to back like the Luke Alietta cover, and that's like the fourth one down. But maybe it's like the 16th one down if there's too much, and then you got to keep scrolling, and you get annoyed. But if it's like you got like 5 tiers, you don't have to go that far if you know where you're going also. So it does play into both mindsets. Like, I don't know what I want, but these are what I'm recommended. Cool. I click on one. Oh, look at all these cool little things in the back end. Oh, I do want a blank sketch cover. Yeah.
I would love to have all these variant covers with all my friends and my buddies doing covers of them, but that doesn't help me financially.
No, you got to pay these
have to go to print with everything.
And that's the other thing, going to print like with all these variant covers, and it gets very costly at that point. That's why we're having just the one for Frog 2. We're having Chubbs do Carl Stefan, who does Merry Boys. He's doing our variant, but that's it. Like Rick Saylor had hit us up like, hey, I got an artist in mind for you. I'm like, no, dude, we already have. We don't want to do like. It's too many. Like, it's just too many.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a cover that Matt Weldon drew for me. Just for the heck of it, he did it. He did a wraparound cover, and I don't know what to do with it right now. Like, but I want to print it.
The other thing is, like, it's not like you don't have another cover option on this. You have a cover you did that's glow in the dark. Yeah. So there is another cover option, which is nice for people who just like, oh, it's a collectability thing. I want that. Some people just want the regular story. Give me the book. I'm good to go. I do like your price point on this. I think it's perfect. It's black and white, correct? Gray toned.
It's all grayscale.
Yeah.
With a touch of red here and there. Like where there's blood.
Yeah.
So, you did the variant cover, the glow in the dark. So someone else did cover A. Sorry, I missed that. I thought you did both.
Chad did both.
Yeah, okay, I did both.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is full on. Good. This is all baby. All Chad.
Yeah, money confirmed. No, I love money. No,
we like money here too.
Right now, all I care about with my campaign and my books is I want my books to sustain itself. I mean, I could probably take money out of my own wallet, and do this, but no,
it's risky. The other thing is, this is a pre-order system, in my opinion. That's really what this is. Like, the book is fully done. Like, I'm just pre-ordering it. I'm reserving my copy. Is what it is. So
this is going towards my future.
Yeah.
So
and everybody, the backer, the monetary value here, it's because Chad was pushing, a lot of people pushing the Kickstarter, but please back it. The Kickstarter is not up, so you can do this one. And also, I like Indiegogo mainly because it comes out right away. Like, my money comes out right away.
Yes.
So I know where my finances stand.
And I did do a sketch cover for Henry Bemis because he promoted it so much.
Yeah, I had my sketch cards, but I think I put them away that I got from you in the last campaign, which dope. Like, my sketch cards look like they're sketch cards. Yours look like they're printed material that is just like highly deep. Like, it's I'm like, I can't measure up to this, but not with my style. It's all too grimy and gross.
I need to send you some blanks so you could do a couple for me.
Yeah,
I have one more Rocket Red Glare blank that I have because I think I drew on one of them already. But I also I think I got one here. I might try to pick up another one. I like blanks, and if I have to back
me too.
It's $10. Like, I don't mind, throwing out a couple extra bucks for another copy of Black Phantom that I could just maybe give to somebody, and I keep the blank. Right. So I don't see a problem with that either. So no, everybody check it out. Check out Black Phantom Holy Terror. Did you ever worry about Batman Holy Terror and be like, oh
no, I love hey, there's the Frank Miller Holy Terror as well.
That one. That's the one I was thinking of.
Alan Grant wrote that Holy Terror and Norm Brayfogle drew it. I knew Alan Grant when I was younger.
You knew everybody.
Dude,
crazy.
I loved all these guys. Alan Grant was probably one of the first. I got a whole awesome story about how I met Alan Grant and Kelly Jones, and
What?
but I'll tell it to you some other time. But Alan Grant,
I'm a huge Kelly Jones fan. So.
I'd wanted Alan Grant when I was doing the first campaign. I was trying to, through Kelly, to get in touch with him because I wanted to hire him to write a Black Phantom story for me. And just as I was getting close to getting in touch with him, he passed away, and I was so heartbroken. So
yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah,
but you know, we do have all of his other works that we can look at and appreciate throughout the years. Like musicians that I really enjoy have passed away, and it sucks. But at least we still have their material.
Live on.
Listening fondly. But you know what also live on is Black Phantom. Back at today, you know, check it out. It's awesome. I have the artwork is sick. Like it's highly professional. You won't regret it. The Chad is one of the most underrated illustrators, artists in the scene. So
I'm not, like I said, I'm not super confident in my abilities. I tried the best I possibly could with this book. That's why it's $10. I don't want to like overcharge everybody. I want to make it. I want your pocketbooks to be happy too.
Well, I think people who are way overly confident in their work, usually their work isn't all that great to begin with anyway. So I like a little humility, a little humbleness.
Yeah.
Me, I'm the best there is, so I don't have to worry about it. But
I just want, if you just stick with me, this next issue too is gonna like.
I'm excited.
It's gonna really get good. Like it's just gonna take a little while. You know?
Yeah.
Well, hey, what's up, Phil? No, yeah, like I said, everybody check it out. The first book, like I said, I'm a fan. Like we're friends, but I'm a fan also. Like I think your work is fantastic.
I'm excited because I'm introducing a whole bunch of new characters, like his sidekick Gremlin, which is like he's a mix between a dog and a dragon with a limited vocabulary.
Nice.
Aww.
I've got a sneak peek on one panel of a new hero that I'm introducing, which is basically the Roman that pierced Christ. He's gonna be traveling the earth as an immortal with this lion, you know.
Nice.
So, but his curse is he gets mauled by this lion every single night as the dark goes down.
Well,
so he's scarred from head to toe.
That's fun. And we didn't even get to go over Black Phantoms. We didn't even get to go over Black Phantoms like powers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's always
I guess so.
Well, no, you can talk about it now. Who cares?
Oh,
let's do it.
He's a walking dead man who's held together by a skeleton key that hangs around his neck. So if he's separated from it, he's just another corpse. And he has all these worms that flow through his body. So if he loses an arm or a limb, he could slap it back on and it'll grow back together again. Who knows? Maybe he might slap somebody else's arm on and, you know,
it's kind of like Samson and Delilah. The key or whatever is like his hair. Like if he doesn't have that, then...
It's kind of like his kryptonite in a way.
Yeah, kryptonite.
I have 14 plots written for Black Phantom. I have 14 all planned out. In a future arc, I'm just going to say it anyway, he ends up fighting this guy named Captain China and gets totally defeated. And Captain China and all of them, they take each body part and they scatter him around the earth so they can study him. And they want to try to recreate him and just can't do it. And his sidekick Gremlin has his key, and he goes in search of all his body parts, and he ends up doing boss fights with each of these different places around the world.
Cool.
Yeah, and then finally puts them back together again. That's
nice.
It's gonna be Black Phantom Lives. You know.
Hey, wait! Didn't just spoil the next book? Did you?
No, that's a future, way off in the future story plot.
Okay,
I'll probably forget by then.
Well, the other thing is also like the hero usually lives. Like, in all reality, let's not like kid ourselves. Like, you go see a movie, like, oh, I don't know if the good guy's gonna survive this. Like, they usually do. Well,
they did kill Superman, and that was pretty shocking.
Okay, is he still dead?
Well, that's the thing. No one knew at the time.
Oh, everybody knew.
No,
You're not going to just
I
kill
didn't.
Superman and leave him dead.
I'm
Everyone knew.
I'm going to tell you some new characters that are going to be in the next issue. I'm so excited.
Do it,
They're
do
gonna.
it.
I'm going to introduce a bunch of witches in the next issue.
Oh no!
Yeah, and they're all going to be sort of good guys. So
Oh, cool.
Nice.
They're good witch.
Yeah,
Good
let's
witches.
spoil
Good
everything.
witch.
Let's get all the goodies. But you gotta get Black Phantom Holy Terror first. To
Yes.
get future issues. So
Yes.
you don't want to miss out. So this was awesome. This is great. Angela, are there any more questions in the chat?
What? Well, I don't see any questions. Just a lot of praise and support and
Yeah.
excitement
Dude,
for the book.
that that worries me.
What?
Why?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. What if it's not good enough? That's
Who does not, as a creator, that does
Okay.
not cross your mind once? You're very. I'm not
Rockus Red Glare
surprised.
was good enough. This one will be good
Yeah,
enough too.
I love
I'm
that
not worried
book.
about it. Chat.
Well, I want to ask, what about Kid Squid? Where are you seeing that going?
I'm ready to do another Kid Squid, but I want to finish this Black Phantom first, and then Kid Squid will be next.
Yeah,
So you
Kid
want to finish the IP altogether before you proceed with another Kid Squid book, or?
Yeah, I actually want to introduce Pandora in her own story.
I really want a Kid Squid book, but I can
agree.
wait.
No, I want to do another
You
Kid
have
Squid
one.
as well.
I want another one.
I
But I'll
will
be
do it.
alright. I can
I
wait.
promise you, it's on the radar.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Don't be so greedy, Angie.
But Pandora, I'm excited about Pandora because I want her to go and defeat a theme park so she can have her own castle and throne.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice. I love it. There's so much great stuff in the indie scene, and Black Phantom is definitely one of them. Everybody, back it. Check it out today. So there's no more questions from either Chi or you.
Well, I was just curious, just looking at the tiers, is there any chance to get the first book, or is that no
Yes.
longer?
As an add-on, you can get
Yeah,
the
it's
first
an
Black
There
Phantom.
is an add-on. Okay, I was just looking. I just was skimming through the
Yeah,
tiers.
for those of you
I
who
apologize.
That's
So yeah,
another
okay.
That's a good question.
That's another thing too. This book sold out. I sold 500 copies of this from the last campaign. However, like if I have any extra money off of this campaign, I'm gonna do another printing of this Kid Squid book.
Okay.
So
Or you can buy mine for $3,000.
yeah, first printing.
First printing, $3,000. Everybody, hit me up.
Yes.
Chad, this was awesome. I do have one last question.
Uh-oh.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I don't know. The pervy part of me wants invisibility. I'm just
That was
kidding.
last week, wasn't it?
I think he said invisibility.
Last week they did,
Well,
and you
one
were
of them
you were
said-
in the
one of them-
chat
One
when I
of
think
them said invisibility.
that
I
was
don't
you in
know.
the chat. So you need to pick another one, please.
I pick another one.
You don't
Can I
have
make
to.
it? No, you don't have to. I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's hard. I would love to be Superman if I could.
All right.
Well, that's a good one.
I'll-
Just real quick. So is this a combo sci-fi action adventure with a high fantasy and supernatural bent?
Yes.
Mythical.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yes.
Perfect blurb.
Maybe
There you go.
telekinesis?
Go, Cranberry.
Wow.
There you go.
Did AI
Like,
write that?
Cranberry is AI. No. Hey.
You can be
Superman-
invisible. So Paula says it. Hi, Paula's Arts.
Yeah, I think I said hi to Paul.
I'm afraid I would be a peeping Tom and Rob Banks with it.
That's my concern.
Okay, I would definitely rob banks with it. I would definitely steal.
I
Yeah.
support that.
Without a doubt.
It's not AI yet.
I would actually want to go find out if there is gold in Hard Knocks, like or
in Fort Knox.
Fort
yeah.
Knox.
Go, come on.
I actually
this
had
be another for your next Black Phantom.
yeah.
You get
I
some
actually
invisible
wrote
powers.
I wrote a story for a plot about a bunch of guys that go to rob it, and when they get there, find out there's nothing in it.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
I was like, isn't that what a lot of people say? There's basically nothing there. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
supposedly we're gonna find out, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
no, this was fun, Chad.
I've enjoyed this
anytime,
thoroughly,
you're more than
yeah.
welcome on, as you know. And thank you to the chat, the mods in the chat. You're awesome, Angela. Thank you for co-hosting.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
I'm gonna hit this
Great.
button right here that plays the outro.